Hello my friends and welcome back to another video. Today we are doing a reading vlog and this is a very exciting reading vlog. I'm going to read either 3 or 4. I haven't really decided yet because I don't know how much time I'm going to have for this vlog. I'm going to aim for 4 books, but I might only be able to do 3. But I'm going to read 3 to 4 murder mystery books. Murder mysteries are something that I haven't delved too deep into. I've read a few of them and I've really enjoyed the ones that I have read, and I really want to try out some more and just kind of see what they're like, kind of explore the genre a little bit more and just kind of get a better feel for it. When I looked through my shelves, I actually had more murder mystery books than I thought I did, so it's kind of funny. I guess I do tend to gravitate towards murder mysteries even though I feel like I don't really read them that often. I wanted to do a dedicated murder mystery reading vlog just to try to get some books off my TBR shelves and kind of just, you know, give them more of a chance and see what I like and what I don't like and see how these kind of work for me. I'm also going to try to see how good I am at guessing if I can figure out who the murderer is, because we all know that when I read thrillers I am pretty decent at guessing like the twists and who the bad guy is, who the murderer is, yada yada yada. So I kind of want to see if that translates into murder mysteries. I feel like it will. I just kind of want to see how close I get to like solving the mystery, like being a detective, see how good my detective skills are, like what I can figure out and sleuth out, you know. I feel like that would be kind of fun too. So the first book I'm going to read in this vlog is the one that I am probably the most excited about, and that is The Appeal by Janice Hallett. I was sent this book by Atria Books and I'm really excited for it. It's about a theater group who is getting ready to put on a play. The director and his wife end up finding out that their granddaughter has a rare form of cancer and they want to get her this like experimental treatment. I guess they start raising money for the experimental treatment and the group's just unsure if everything is as it seems, and so then someone like dies or something. So that's all I really know about this one. I've heard a lot of good things about it. I've heard it's very like interesting. I've heard there's a ton of characters. I've heard there's so many characters, so I'm hoping I don't get super confused, but I've heard good things, so I'm hoping that I enjoy this one. And this is the first one up. It's kind of long, but I do know it's a lot of like interviews and emails and stuff like that, so I feel like it won't be as bad to get through even though it feels like it's going to be long. So this is the one that I'm going to start the vlog out with, and I am going to take you along for the ride, along on this journey with me to kind of uncover what's going on with this theater group and see if we can solve the mystery. Really what I'm doing with this video is trying to live out my Scooby-Doo fantasy because I always wanted to solve a mystery. So we're gonna see how well I do with these 3 or 4 books and see if I can solve the crimes. So first up is The Appeal, and let's get into this one. Hello friends, welcome to a check-in. It is Sunday. I just got off of reading sprints that I did for Patreon and I am here to talk about The Appeal. I have been absolutely devouring this book. I think this is exactly what I needed to kind of like switch up my reading, because I told you I was in a really bad slump for the rest of February and it kind of came into March, so I haven't been really interested in reading. But this book, I have seriously been just like sucked into it. I'm on page 306, so I'm about like 60% of the way through. I really like the way this book is told. It is told through emails and text messages, and I'm really enjoying it. This book is about a theater group who is putting on a show, and the director and his wife get news that their granddaughter has been diagnosed with this rare form of cancer. They decide to try this experimental drug and like this experimental treatment for her cancer, but they need like $350,000 to do it. And so they start fundraising. And of course, the theater group loves this family. They feel like this is the worst thing that could happen, but they're going to rally together and, you know, come up with the money. However, there are some like inconsistencies, you know, there are just some weird, some little suspicious stuff. And there are some people that are convinced that there is some other stuff going on, like fraud, like the experimental treatment isn't actually real, like, you know, there's just like a whole bunch of theories kind of floating around. And I really have enjoyed reading the emails, and I know that sounds weird because I can definitely see how a lot of people would feel like this book is really boring and really slow, but for some reason reading these emails between the theater group like members and reading their interactions and stuff, it is so interesting to me. I think a lot of people would say that not a lot's happening in this, but for me, like, there is. Like, it's a lot of drama in my opinion. I feel like there's just stuff happening in these emails, like kind of just some of the conversations. Some of the emails have some condescending tones to them, you know, some underlying suspicious tones, and you can just like get an eye for what's going on between the interactions with these members, and you're just kind of like, it's almost like you're a fly on the wall and you're getting to see things that not everyone gets to see, you know? And I feel like that is so interesting to me that I've just been sucked into it. And I have been so enamored reading these emails between these members because I'm just like, it's just really fun to me. I just think I'm having a lot of fun with the formatting. I really enjoy it, and it really works for me and for my brain. And I think it feels like I'm reading it much faster as well because of it being in this kind of format. So I feel like I'm just kind of like blazing through this book. I know a lot of people have said that the characters are confusing because there's like 15 characters in here, but I haven't had that much trouble with it. Like, I definitely have gotten a few times where I'm like, who is that person? What's the point of them? But I will say in the beginning of the book there is this like list. There's this list and it's about the Fairway Players. That's like the theater group, and it has all of them laid out, like their ages and their like relationship to each other, which I think is actually super helpful. I've only had to go back to this page, I think like 2 or 3 times. I haven't needed it too much. I actually feel like I've had a really good experience like distinguishing the characters. Like, it hasn't tripped me up too much, which I think could be a downfall for a lot of people because that many characters, it can be overwhelming and it can get really confusing. But for some reason it hasn't been that confusing for me, and I think it's because, well, one, in the email parts, it's like to so-and-so from so-and-so, so I think I've just been seeing their names over and over and over and over again that I'm kind of just like getting so familiar with the names that I'm like not confused on who's who. But I haven't found it too difficult. There are a few times where I'm like, who's that person? I don't remember you at all. Or like, I'll be reading an email, I'm like, why do you matter? What's your point? Who are you? And then they'll like sign off and they'll have like a little part in the email and I'm like, oh right, you're this person. So it might be like a little bit tricky at times, but I feel like I've had a pretty decent time with it. Like, I feel like it hasn't been too hard for me. I've just gotten to the part where the person that was murdered has been revealed, and the police that are, you know, going through these emails like we are and like, you know, doing the investigating like we are at the same time, you know, like we're doing it at the same time as they are, have just started like going over like all of the stuff from like the beginning and talking about like the fundraising and all that stuff. So I feel like we're about to get into like who did it, and I don't know, which is kind of interesting because I feel like I always have a few suspects, and I do have a few suspects, but I really can't pinpoint which direction this book is trying to go in, and I really can't figure out if I know who the murderer is. So I'm very excited and intrigued because I want to see where this is going, because I'm really not sure which direction it's taking, and I really want to know if any of my suspects are actually correct, if I'm on the right, you know, path, or if I've been completely bamboozled and the actual murderer has just like snuck past me and I never noticed. So very interested. I feel like this is a really good murder mystery. I feel like it's doing a really good job at what it's trying to do. I feel like it's a pretty unique murder mystery for me. I haven't read anything like this. I can definitely see why some people wouldn't enjoy this and why some people would find this boring and like too complicated and too much work, but for me this is an absolute blast. I'm having so much fun. I'm so like into it and just like excited to read it and keep going with it, which I feel like I haven't had that feeling in such a long time. So I'm actually really excited and I am really pumped to finish it. I want to know who the murderer is, and I want to know what's happening. I want to know what's going on. So I'm very excited to finish this up, and I will let you know when I do, and then we will move on to murder mystery book number 2. So I will update you when I'm done. Hello friends, it is time for a reading update. I have finished The Appeal, and honestly I really enjoyed this book. Like I said from the beginning, it was just really fun and engaging, and I felt like it just kind of sucked me in right off the bat, and it was a nice change of pace from everything I've been reading. It was just fun, and it felt like easy. It didn't feel like I was trying too hard to get into the book. It felt like I was just good to go from chapter 1 until the end. I did not see the ending coming. I will say that this was actually a really nice surprise. I feel like it did a really good job of keeping me on my toes. I feel like it did a really good job of painting every suspect in the position of being the guilty party. So like, I know sometimes in certain books there are suspicious characters, but you can rule some of them out pretty easily. But I feel like in this book, the main suspects were really hard to narrow it down because they just all had motive, and they were all really suspicious, and they all had like ample opportunity to be the murderer, that it was really hard for me to figure out what was happening. And while I was right about some things, I wasn't fully right. I feel like the biggest twist was really surprising. I feel like I should have noticed it, like I should have seen it coming, and I feel like I did to an extent. I did think that it was a possibility. It wasn't quite a full thought out thought in my brain, like to the extent that the book went. So I was actually pretty pleased about that. I feel like the whole conclusion was pretty complex, and I don't mean like complex in like a hard to understand way. I just mean there was a lot of layers to it, and I feel like the author really thought everything through and really kind of tried hard to make it a complex, ending, a complex conclusion, but not in a way that makes you go, oh, the author was trying too hard, the author was just, blah, blah, blah. I feel like the author succeeded and made it complex and like really layered in a way that wasn't super weird or annoying, or felt like the author was trying too hard, obviously. So I really liked that. I feel like the last chunk was a lot of the lawyers trying to figure out what was happening and like piece everything together, which I kind of liked because I felt like it was laid out a little bit better than I was kind of laying everything out in my head. All I was reading was emails and texts, so I feel like having them lay out everything for me kind of helped give me a better timeline of everything. I will say though, it did get a little bit repetitive just because I had already known most of the information because I had read it myself through emails and texts. They did add a little bit more context, I would say, and give me a little bit more to go on, but it did feel a little bit, it wasn't as fun for me hearing them lay everything out as it was when I was going through like the text and the emails. I much preferred that part to the very end section where it was just them sifting through all the information to try to come to one conclusion. So it wasn't as fun for me doing that, but I still liked it, and I still feel like it did a really good job in the end of like having everything come together. And again, the book was just really fun and interesting and engaging, and I just had a lot of fun while reading it. I don't know, I really liked this. I wouldn't say this is a perfect book because, again, it was on the longer side. It was a little bit slow. I don't love slow. I do think it worked for this kind of story because there's a lot of layers, a lot of buildup. You know, everything's kind of laying foundation for the ending. I can see why some people wouldn't like that because, again, it's just a lot of emails and text. At times it feels like you're reading things that don't have a purpose, but in the end, everything did have a purpose for why you were reading and sifting through all of it. So for me, I really enjoyed going through everything. I liked it. I liked the snooping aspect, I guess, like the the looking through everything. I don't know. I just like being nosy, I guess, so it was kind of just fun for me to do that. Overall, really enjoyed it. I liked it a lot. I would give it like a 4, maybe a 4.5. Again, it's not perfect in my opinion, but I really had a lot of fun with it, and I really enjoyed it, and I think it was a really well done, good, entertaining murder mystery. So it's Sunday at like 11 p.m. I'm probably going to start this before bed, but the next book that I am going to read is The Maid by Nita Prose. I've heard a lot of people talking about this one. I've had it sitting on my shelves for a long time. I got this from Book of the Month. I've just never picked it up, honestly, and I figured this was a good time to include it in a reading vlog since we're doing a murder mystery reading vlog. This one I don't know too much about. I'm kind of glad about that. I think I'm just gonna go in a little bit blind. From what I know, it's about a maid, and then there's a dead body in this hotel that the main character is a maid at. That's all I know. Sounds pretty typical, sounds pretty, you know, standard for a murder mystery. I'm excited. I've heard lots of mixed things, but I do know that Nakia from Nakia's Hideaway, who I love so much here on YouTube, she absolutely adored this one, so I'm very excited to give this a try and see what I think about it. So you'll probably see more of me talking about this book tomorrow on Monday because it's bedtime and I gotta get ready for bed because I'm exhausted. So I will check in with you all later. Hello friends, welcome back to a reading update. I am here to talk about The Maid. I finished this last night and I was going to check in during the halfway point of this book, but it's pretty short and I'll be honest, my thoughts were kind of jumbled when I was reading it, and it just took me a little bit to think about this book and to come to some sort of conclusion as to how I really felt about this book. So the synopsis of this book is basically about the main character Molly. She is a maid. Her grandmother died a few months ago, and that's basically all the family she had. And Molly's a little bit different. She has a hard time interacting with people, and I think she has a hard time understanding what they mean. Like, just socially interacting with people is a little bit different. Her mind just works different than other people. And she's a maid at this hotel and she loves it. She loves cleaning. Her grandmother instilled, you know, valuable lessons of cleaning onto Molly, and so Molly kind of just loves to clean. So she loves being a maid. However, she ends up finding one of their VIP guests dead in his hotel room. And once she uncovers this guy dead in his room, a whole bunch of other stuff starts to come to light. I don't know how I feel about this still. I liked it. I don't dislike this book. I think it is not what I expected it to be as a murder mystery, and I think coming off The Appeal, which was so entertaining and so fun, and there was just so many layers to that story, there was just so much going on and so much to uncover, this was a little bit lackluster because there's just not a lot going on in terms of the murder mystery. To me, it's not really a mystery. It's kind of really obvious what's happening from the very beginning, and this is more of a character-driven story. It's very low stakes in my opinion. Nothing is very tense or thrilling, or I don't want to say it's not interesting, but it's just not what I expect from a murder mystery. It's just very low stakes, like I said. I had an issue with Molly. I liked Molly. I don't dislike Molly. I don't think she's necessarily a bad character. I just had a very hard time connecting to her because this is really about Molly. It's about her and her interacting with other people and her relationships with other people and her life as a maid and how much she loves cleaning. It's really all about Molly and her day-to-day life, kind of, and then just sprinkle in a little murder mystery. So it's hard because I did like Molly a lot of the times. Like sometimes she would make me, you know, laugh. Like I liked her personality. I thought she was fine, but she did do things that really frustrated me. I don't know why the author made her like this at times. I have seen a lot of other reviewers say that they think Molly is autistic and they wish the author had just kind of said that. You're either gonna love Molly or you're gonna hate Molly. I don't hate her, but I didn't really love her. Like I said, some of her choices just really frustrated me, and I feel like even with her type of character, I feel like some of her responses were bizarre. So I don't really know. I don't know. That may be just me personally. I'm not really sure, but I had a love-hate relationship with Molly. Sometimes I really loved her and sometimes I was like, Molly, what are you doing? Stop it. So it was very hard to be connected to this story when it's all about Molly, and I had no connection to Molly. It was very hard for me to be invested in her, and since this is such a low-stakes story, I didn't really feel like anyone was ever in danger. I never felt like there was that reason to be on edge or that nervousness I needed. I wasn't expecting anything bad to happen to Molly or any of the characters that were good and like on her side. I just felt like there was no reason to be worried, so it just felt like more of a story about Molly with a little bit of murder sprinkled. It is a very predictable story. There is a twist at the end. It's a good twist. It's not a bad twist. I don't think it's a big enough twist to do anything for the story, if that makes sense. Because when the twist was revealed, I was kind of like, okay. It was a little surprising, but not super surprising, I guess. I feel like it could have been more surprising because the story is very predictable. It's a very sweet story. It's very cute. It's very like warm and fuzzy and lighthearted and heartwarming. So if you don't like that, I don't think you would enjoy this. It's much more of a cozy mystery than it is like a full-on murder mystery. I like cozy, I like lighthearted, I like that kind of thing, so it wasn't bad for me. I just think it's not quite what I expected because it is more of a character-driven, almost like a slice of life. I did see someone else say that in a review, and I do agree. It's more of a slice of life with like a little hint of a murder mystery. So if that's not something you're into, I don't know if you would like this. For me, it's just not anything special, or it didn't really stand out, so I'm not sure what I want to rate it because I did like it, I just didn't love it. I didn't hate it either, so maybe a 3, maybe a 3.5, I'm not really sure, but it wasn't my favorite, but I didn't dislike it either. So the next murder mystery that I am reading, I already started it. I started it last night and I got fairly far because I stayed up really late to get some reading in, but that is The Golden Spoon by Jessa Maxwell. This is about 6 contestants that are competing in a baking competition called Bake Week, and things get a little messy. There's some sabotage going on, and I guess somebody's supposed to end up dead, but I'm like more than halfway through. I'm on page like 184 and no one's died. So it's taking a really long time. Speaking of low stakes, I have to admit this one also feels like The Maid in a sense that it's very low stakes. I don't feel like I need to be on the edge of my seat for anything. It's very interesting. Like, I like baking. I like baking competitions. This feels very much like the Great British Bake Off mixed with like, you know, a murder mystery. And so it's fun. It's not bad. It's just one, no one's died. I'm not finding anything really intense about it or mysterious enough. There is something going on in here with one of the characters. I can't really go into detail, but there is some kind of mystery happening with one of the characters that I really like, but I feel like it's not really a main focus, which is kind of a disappointment because I feel like it's one of the better things going on in this story, so I feel like it should have been a bigger part of the plot, but you know, I still have the ending to get through, so who knows. But again, very low stakes. I don't feel like anything is putting me on edge or keeping me like on my toes. I don't know who died yet because no one's died. No body has been found. I have an inkling of who the body is. Like, I think I know who it is. It's the only one that makes sense, but then again, who really knows, because I don't really know what's gonna happen. But I do have a few suspects in mind. I do have a few up here that I'm keeping track of. It is fun though to see them do the competition. Again, very much like the Great British Bake Off, which I really like. So it is fun. It's just not a lot going on. Not a lot's happening. So very interested to see how it ends and see if I feel differently after I reach a conclusion and I see like the reveal, who's doing everything and why, and you know, whatever. So I'm interested to see how it ends, but I'll let you know more once I finish the book, and then we can talk more about my thoughts in more detail, and I can go over, you know, the book a little bit more. I just want to finish it first. So that's all for this update, and I will let you know when I finish The Golden Spoon. Hello my friends, welcome to another update. I finished The Golden Spoon, so I'm going to tell you my thoughts. Just like The Maid, this one is very low stakes. I really wish that the author had done more with this story because I really like the idea of it. I like the baking competition, murder mystery, you know, setting. I really like that, and I think it's really fun. But the stakes are extremely low, just like in The Maid. I feel like nothing is really that tense or that anxiety inducing. I just feel like there's no real even mystery to it. Like, the person that dies is pretty obvious in my opinion, and the ending to everything is kind of obvious in my opinion. I felt like a lot of it was super predictable, and if you read a lot of murder mysteries, I think that you'll be able to guess everything right away. I don't read too many murder mysteries. Like I said, I love them. I think they're really fun, but I haven't really dabbled too much in this genre. But I do read a lot of thrillers, and while they're not the exact same, I do feel like my knowledge of thrillers kind of helps me in murder mysteries to kind of pick out suspects, especially since I feel like murder mysteries aren't as thrilling. There's not so many things happening in a plot a lot of the times, although the appeal was a little bit different. Like I said, there was a lot going on in that one. But the other ones that I've read so far in this video have felt very simple in terms of plot, so it's hard because I do feel like this is extremely predictable, but I do think it's fun. I do love the baking competition aspect, like I said earlier. I think it's really cool. I don't know, it's a fun setting. I just wish there was more to it. I wish it was just higher stakes. I just wish there was more to it because I was already almost at 200 pages before anyone died, and I just feel like little sabotages in the baking competition. I guess they were kind of bigger sabotages, but not enough to make it a higher stakes. So I just wish there had been more going on, maybe more murder. I know that sounds crazy, but like maybe more murder. I don't know, like maybe more people needed to die. I'm not sure, but it just didn't feel big enough, I guess. And then everything wrapped up really neatly, and I just feel like it could have gotten a little messier. It could have gotten a little more like complicated. I feel like this author kind of played it safe, and it's not necessarily a bad thing, but I do think people that love murder mysteries aren't going to find anything like new or crazy or fresh with this one. It's just gonna be pretty safe and simple. It's still fun. I do like it, and this is the author's debut, I believe, so not bad, but I do think it's a fun read. I wanted a little bit more from it. So the final murder mystery that I am going to read, I've already started this one. I'm about 50 pages in, and this is the Decagon House Murders by Yukito Ayatsuji. I believe this is a play on Agatha Christie's And Then There Were None. I think a lot of mysteries are. I've never read anything by Agatha Christie, so that really means nothing to me, honestly, because I don't know what And Then There Were None is about. I do know a lot of people reference that story. I do know that a lot of people say a ton of mysteries that I have read are based off of that story, but again, it really doesn't mean much to me because I don't know anything about that story, so it could come in handy because I feel like it makes it a little bit more enjoyable since I don't have anything to compare it to. This book is about this mystery club from K University who is going to the Decagon house to get inspiration, to investigate, to just, I don't know, look into it because this horrific thing has happened at the Decagon house. It's really fun so far. The characters all have nicknames based off of American, British, and French mystery writers. Like there is a character named Agatha, a character named Ellery, a character named Poe, and so on. So that's kind of fun. That's really cute. I like it. Nothing's really happened. They're just at the Decagon house as of right now, and they're just, that's the first day. They're just kind of there. So I'm interested. I like the writing so far. I'm very interested to see where this one is gonna go, what it's like. Again, I've never read an Agatha Christie, so I don't really have anything to base my experience off of this one. So it'll definitely be interesting, but I am going to hopefully finish this one tonight because I gotta edit this video tomorrow, so I will give you my final thoughts probably about this one tomorrow. So I'll let you know what I think once I finish this one. Hello my friends, and welcome for the last check-in of this reading vlog. Last night, to be precise, around 3:30 to 4 a.m. this morning, I finished the Decagon House Murders, and I am so shocked that I loved this. I'm not shocked that I loved it, but I'm shocked that it surprised me as much as it did. This book is about K University's mystery club, and they end up taking this trip to this island called Tsunojima, and it has kind of a interesting history. It's supposed to be haunted, but it also is like the home of these really brutal unsolved mysteries. And the mystery club, they love mystery books. Like, that's what they do. They love to read mystery books. They like to write. They just love it. Most of the members have nicknames based off of American, British, and French crime mystery writers. Like, Agatha is named after Agatha Christie. There's a Poe for Edgar Allan Poe, so on, so on. I didn't know all the names because I'm not super familiar with, like, all of the mystery genre, but I did like that. I thought it was a really nice touch, and I thought it was really, really cool. So after the club gets to Tsunojima, one of the members ends up dead, and they start getting picked off one by one, and of course they are in an isolated location. And what do they do when they're in an isolated location and they start getting picked off one by one? They start turning on each other. And of course they all like mystery novels, so they kind of start trying to solve the mystery themselves because they have so much knowledge off of the books that they read that they think that they can solve the mystery before they end up dead. So I said before, this is a take on Agatha Christie's And Then There Were None. I've never read anything by Agatha Christie, so I can't say that this book would surprise you if you've read that Agatha Christie. I really can't, because I don't know how similar they are. I really don't. I don't know if the twist in this is similar to the twist in that Agatha Christie, so you're gonna have to think about this in your own terms, because for me this was like really crazy, really different, really unique, and it surprised the absolute crap out of me. Like, I didn't see a lot of it coming. We all know that I tend to guess plot twists really early on, and it's something that I really hate. I know some people don't mind it, but I absolutely hate when I guess plot twists. So for me not to have guessed this one, it was such a pleasant surprise. Like, I was so excited. Like, my jaw dropped when the surprise was revealed. Like, when this twist happened, I literally, I'm not exaggerating, was reading and I went, because I did not expect it. At no point in the book when I was reading did I put two and two together, did I figure anything out. I feel like it was so expertly done that there were no threads that I noticed. Like, I didn't see any little thread connecting it together at any point while I was reading. That could be because I was reading it at like 3 in the morning, but I think it's because I really just couldn't find anything to figure it out. Like, I just couldn't see it coming, which I think is amazing and a sign of a really good author, because it is very hard for me to be surprised in books nowadays. Like, in thrillers, mysteries, I feel like I can really see certain things coming a lot of the time, and that's very clear with 2 of the books that I read in this vlog. I really saw a lot of it coming, but with this one, I feel like I didn't see it coming at all, and I am so happy about that. The characters were really funny because, again, I really liked their nicknames. I thought their nicknames were really fun. I liked the nod to other mystery writers, but they were really funny because they read these mystery novels and then they get into the situation that is such a classic, typical mystery book plot. A group of people in an isolated location getting picked off one by one. They think it's one of them among them, so they start being, you know, really suspicious, and they really start trying to figure things out. And I actually really like that, because I feel like that's exactly what I would do in the situation. I feel like because I read so many thrillers and mysteries and horror books that I would be like, I can figure this out. I can figure it out. No, I got this. Like, just watch. Let me put the pieces together. I'll figure it out. So it was actually kind of funny. I feel like some people might find it annoying, but I thought it was hilarious because they reacted probably exactly how I would have reacted. Although I will say that they were very intelligent characters. Like, I feel like they were pretty smart. Yes, they did certain things that I was like, okay, this isn't the best idea, but I feel like for the most part, they were really smart characters and they knew what to do, which is interesting because it's a situation that I feel like no one really knows what to do until they're in it. So I kind of really liked that about them. I thought that was fun. The one, I don't know if it's a criticism, but it was like a slight difficulty I had reading was just the amount of names and keeping track of who was who. There were just kind of a lot of characters, and sometimes I couldn't tell who we were talking about, or like who was who at some point. So I think that was just a me thing. It did get way easier as I went on. I found like my rhythm with reading, and I felt like I finally like got a hang of who each character was, like their personality, the way they spoke, their certain like characteristics and stuff like that. So I felt like it was much easier after a certain point, but in the very beginning I was like, whoa, there are a lot of characters, and not even a lot, there's really not a lot of characters, but there's quite a bit where I was like, oh, who are you again? I couldn't remember. So it did take me just like a little bit of time to figure out who was who, but I feel like once I got there, it was smooth sailing. And like I said, that last plot twist, that last big reveal was insane to me. I am still thinking about it. Like, cause when I finished it, I was like, oh my God. but then I still think about it. Like, I woke up thinking about it. I'm still thinking about it because it was so good. I really don't know how to rate this because I think I want to give it 5 stars. Like, I think this was my favorite out of the 4, which is saying a lot because the appeal was amazing to me. Like, I loved the appeal. I want to give the appeal of 4.5, I think. So I really think this might get 5 stars for me. So I feel like this is exactly what I was looking for. This is what I wanted to find in this vlog. High stakes, big mystery, good plot twist, really good characters, actually very interesting characters. I liked them a lot. I really liked the setting of the story. I liked the mystery club. I loved that they were mystery fans. I thought that was just so fun, and I just thought this was a really good mystery. I loved it. I loved it. I thought it was so well done, and I think it's my favorite. I think I have to give it 5 stars because I can't stop thinking about that plot twist. And I don't think I'll stop thinking about this plot twist for a while because it knocked my freaking socks off, and I am floored. I am just so floored by it. It was so good. I guess I saved the best for last. I did it by accident, but I guess I knew subconsciously because that's how it worked out. Started the vlog on a high note, ending the vlog on a high note. That's what I like to see. Alright, my friends, that is going to do it for this vlog where I read 4 murder mysteries and tell you my thoughts, tell you if I could figure out what was going on before the book revealed it. 2 of the books were absolutely amazing, and 2, I don't want to say they were duds, but they just weren't quite what I was looking for personally in a murder mystery. I feel like The Appeal and the Decagon House Murders were what I was looking for. I feel like they were fresh, they were interesting, and they were different from the ones that I've personally read. Again, you'll have to, you know, be mindful of the Agatha Christie and then there were none aspect for the Decagon House Murders because I've never read that one. So for me, this book was extremely innovative and different for my reading taste, but I don't know about everybody else's. But those 2 were definitely the standouts, and I really liked this style of video. I liked trying to find murder mysteries that I enjoy. I liked taking a little break from horror and thrillers. I thought this was a good change of pace, and it was really fun, and it let me expand a little bit. This isn't a genre that I tend to read too much from, but now I feel like I know what I like, and I can try to find more books similar to the 2 that I really enjoyed, and hopefully find more murder mystery books that I really liked. I hope you enjoyed this reading vlog. If you want to see more like this, maybe where I try different genres, different subgenres, or you know, whatever, give me a thumbs up. If you have any suggestions for murder mysteries for me to read, leave them in the comments down below. If you have any suggestions for reading vlogs that you would like to see me do similar to this one, let me know in the comments down below. Feel free to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. We can become friends, talk about books, horrifying books, thrilling books, romance books, manga, all that good fun stuff. And with that being said, I hope you are having a great day, night, morning, afternoon, wherever you are, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!